What's good, people? Thank you, as always, for passing by the channel. Much appreciated. Green tea, not alcohol, not alcohol. Hit that subscribe button if you guys are new. All right, let's talk Gennady Golovkin. I was going to do a video about Triple G last week, just saying like what's going on, like because we've not heard anything from him. To be fair, he only fought in September, but normally you kind of are hearing GGG linked with this, GGG linked with that, and we haven't really heard anything. Maybe there's been a bit of link with Callum Smith, but that's just been hearsay. There's not been anything concrete. Plus, there was that rumor going around that he's left Tom Loffer, his longtime promoter, and Tom Loffer's been going around putting out fires saying this is bullshit, no one should report it. So it's a case of what's going on with Gennady Golovkin, right? This is the guy that, for me, and I've said this before, sorry. It's so cold in the house, I don't want it to get cold immediately. I've said this before about GGG. I feel like when it's all said and done, history won't be nice to GGG. History won't be nice. Like, unless you've watched him, if you just see the record, and although he has, I don't know how many middleweight defenses, was it 20, 21 or whatever, I feel like history won't be nice to him because people will just do what we do when we look at fighters from the 60s and 70s, and we just look on the resume, right? We look on the resume and say, ah, yeah, but he didn't fight, no, he didn't fight anyone. And I feel like Golovkin, because of that loss and draw to Canelo, we're going to look back in 30 years' time and think, what was special about Golovkin? There was a lot special about Golovkin. There was a lot special. And there was a period when was this? I'm thinking probably Macklin to David Lemieux periods. I think he had 2 or 3 fights in that period. Maybe 4 fights in that period, actually. 4? Can't remember. But there was a period where I thought he would have smashed anybody. Anybody. 160, 168, anybody. Honestly, I actually thought it would have been uber competitive with Andre Ward. But he was chasing the big money fights, right? And the big money fight was Canelo, or at the time, Cotto. And I feel like he maybe might have missed the opportunity to have some career-defining fights. And that's why I say history won't be favourable to him. But for me, at that period, especially when I watched the Matthew Macklin fight, and again, people might say Matthew Macklin is a B-level fighter, but regardless, he broke him in 2 with that body shot. Literally just broke him in 2, done, right? And Macklin's a tough one. He broke him in 2. Some of the performances against, again, B-level opponents, which isn't his fault, by the way, isn't his fault, were just frightening. And I do feel sorry for him because he came at a time when Felix Stern was kind of done. Sergio Martinez, the long-time reigning champion, was done. Paul Williams had the accident. So there was no marquee names. And finally, when he got a marquee name in Danny Jacobs, it was close. People didn't give him that much credit for, but he won. And obviously the 2 Canelo fights. So yeah, history won't be kind to him, but fingers crossed, us that were there to witness it might just remember how good a fighter Gennady Golovkin was. He was a genuine fucking boogeyman. Like, it's branded around that title now. Like, Errol Spence, for some reason, has a title of a boogeyman. I don't know why. Gennady Golovkin, for about 4 or 5 years, was a fucking boogeyman. Go and check the interviews with Billy Joe Saunders and people talking about him. Other fighters, Danny Jacobs, not wanting a piece of it. Cotto, I will never forget that in-ring interview Cotto did with Max Kellerman. And Cotto was asked about GGG. And Miguel Cotto was like, no, didn't want it, right? Didn't want it. Anyway, back to the main subject at hand. Oscar De La Hoya has recently read a statement or left a statement saying that he now wants and plans to make and is negotiating to make Gennady Golovkin versus Canelo free. May 4th, obviously Cinco de Mayo. And that's the big fight they're looking for, right? That's the one they want. I think that's the one that DAZN wants as well, because we already know it's going to be a hit, right? The first one done really good pay-per-view numbers. The second one done amazing pay-per-view numbers as well. And I almost feel like they think their styles gel to the point where it's just going to be a very good fight. We've seen it number 1, we've seen it number 2. Nothing's going to change in number 3. The styles are going to make for a genuinely good fight. And who's complaining? Who should complain? It was fight of the year in many people's eyes. Not mine, but many people's eyes. It was fight of the year and guaranteed top 3 fight of the year in 2018. So that all makes sense, right? Everyone should be happy. Not me. Not me. And I'm a big Golovkin fan. I mean, Golovkin's one of my favorite fighters in the last sort of 10, 15 years. Probably my favorite fighter in the last 10, 15 years. But I've seen it now. I've already seen it happen before. I know exactly how it plays out. I know that Golovkin won't be able to knock out Canelo. It will hurt him. He'll win the rounds. But in the end, Canelo will get the decision. It's just that work. And I'm not trying to say they're cheating or anything. I think Canelo was very close in the second one. I thought Golovkin won the first one, so it will be competitive. But nonetheless, once it goes to the scorecards, Canelo will get it. Absolutely. Ridiculously, obviously will get the decision. There's no doubt about it. He's just signed a, I don't know, 11-fight contract or whatever it is with DAZN for $350 million. He ain't losing. You've got to knock that fucker out. He is not losing. Anyone goes to points with Canelo, good luck. Mayweather went to points with Canelo. Mayweather beat him comfortably. Someone gave it a draw. That's Canelo for you right now. So for me, as much as I think Golovkin might think he deserves it because he thinks he's won the last two, I would rather see someone else fight Canelo. And that's hard. That's hard for me to say because I love Golovkin. I want to see him get one of those big victories, right? I want him to retire with at least one convincing big victory, but I don't want it to be Canelo. He must have to go somewhere else. Another reason I think Oscar wants to make it is because it's probably the easiest fight to make. They've sat around the negotiating table twice before, so they know how it all works. Canelo's the A side, Golovkin's the B side. The percentages will be a bit different this time because Golovkin isn't the champion anymore, but they know how it works, and Golovkin's a free agent right now. And I don't know if he wants to roll the dice with the other ones as yet. A lot of people are talking about Charlo. That's a tough fight to make. Charlo's obviously with Al Heyman and PBC. And you can imagine if Charlo versus Canelo goes down, they'd want to put it on pay-per-view. Obviously, Showtime would want to put it on pay-per-view. They can't do that because obviously the Canelo thing with DAZN. So there are fights to make. You can make Andrade. Jacobs is there. Billy Joe Saunders is the one that I would love to make. I just want someone else to have a go at Canelo. I think there are far too many good middleweights for it to be down to GGG and Canelo again. And I think GGG should go his own path. I think GGG can go fight Billy Joe Saunders. Frank Warren recently said that's a fight he thinks he could make. It will be a pay-per-view fight, so they can offer him good money. But for GGG, if all the names are put out on the table for you, Callum Smith, Billy Joe Saunders, Andrade, Jacobs rematch, Charlo, one name's going to stand out, and that's Canelo. You want that chance to get a victory over him. Plus, all the others probably pay 3, 4, 5 million, which is very good money. Canelo's at least 10 million. At least, right? I don't know how it works now because it won't be pay-per-view, but Canelo's at least 10 million. So I can see why GGG wants to fight. I can see why Oscar wants to fight. I can even see why Canelo wants to fight. But for us hardcore boxing fans, again, I'm split on it, but I think for us hardcore boxing fans, we want to see GGG fight someone else, and I want to see Canelo fight someone else. I really do think that Canelo should fight the other contenders, and GGG, whether it is 160 or 168, should fight the other contenders as well. If GGG wants to prove that he's still a top threat at 160, then there are other names to prove that. Or if you can't make the weight, go to 168, right? Those are the options. Canelo shouldn't be an option. And for Canelo, look, his resume says he doesn't duck anyone. That's what his resume says. All those fights against people that everyone said he should fight, he's fought them. Whether it be at the time we want him to fight them, he's fought them. So I'm never going to say that he's ducking the 160 guys. But Jacobs is a huge threat. Jacobs is a huge threat. I'm not sure how much of a threat Charlo is, but again, a threat. Andrade, Southpaw, threat. Billy Joe Saunders, definite threat. So that there are other threats out there. And I would like to see him face those threats before trying to do the thing against GGG again. That's my own 2 cents. What do you guys make of it? Let me know. Peace.